And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is going to feel something from him. And it ain't going to be easy to hit him. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out.
In Florida, man looks absolutely amazing. Man looks like a monster. Man looks like precision. Jake Paul cannot take those body shots.
Oh, Tank's gonna kill him. Tank's gonna kill him because he won't be able to touch Tank. And then
okay. It's kind of like the Tyson thing again, though, right? Like when
it reminded me of that, but it also reminded me of like, oh, in barbershops across the world, people, or at least the country, people will talk about this and be like, oh, Tank's gonna kill him because he will not get.
The boxing world is stunned as Gervonta Davis shows up in peak form ahead of his fight with Jake Paul. Training clips reveal him smashing the heavy bag with explosive power and razor-sharp precision. His intense focus and non-stop energy make it clear he's taking this fight seriously, leaving experts impressed by his conditioning and confidence heading into the showdown. Analysts believe Gervonta Davis has a strong chance to win, but only if he fights smart. They stress he needs to rely on movement, ring control, and timing rather than hunting for an early knockout. Tank's true brilliance lies in his patience and his ability to read an opponent's rhythm. Experts say if he sticks and moves, Jake Paul won't be able to handle his precision and speed. While Davis is known for his explosive power, it's his defense and counterpunching that make him truly dangerous. Most agree that when he fights intelligently, no opponent at Jake's level can match his mix of skill, power, and footwork.
You know, his ability make up for that size difference, in your honest opinion?
Well, he has to be very smart throughout the course of the fight. You know, it's hard to know in some things. I think Gervonta's just gonna stick and move. He'll be fast, play it smart, I don't see him staying still for too long so Jake can land some shots. He'll just try to touch him. Who knows, man? It's an exhibition. It's a money grab. Jake's fighting one of the best boxers ever.
Experts predict Jake Paul is in for a brutal reality check once he steps into the ring with Gervonta Davis. They argue that Tank's experience, speed, and fight IQ are far beyond anything Jake has faced before. While Jake's past opponents were strong, none possessed Tank's explosive timing or ability to exploit openings. Many analysts believe the power gap will become clear the moment Davis lands clean. They describe Jake's defense as raw and untested, whereas Tank's ring IQ lets him calculate every move with precision. With that in mind, most expect a knockout to be inevitable. Once Tank connects, Jake won't have the endurance or defensive awareness to survive the onslaught.
Tank Davis look crazy, bro. Chilaquiles. Gervonta Tank Davis hitting a heavy bag in preparation for his Jake Paul fight November 14th down there in Florida. Man looks absolutely amazing. Man looks like a monster. Man looks like precision. Jake Paul cannot take those body shots. You mean to tell me somebody who done fought UFC fighters and a man with Parkinson's disease can take a body punch from Gervonta Tank Davis, and y'all basing y'all logic just because Jake Paul is big? No, Tank's gonna go ahead and put this man to sleep. I'm telling y'all that right now. If Tank don't put this man to sleep, he done let the black community down, he done let boxing down, and he ain't never been that nice. You Tank fans, y'all trying to give him a pass. If y'all said Tank is as skilled as y'all say he is, if he does not put Jake Paul to sleep and stop Jake Paul, his boxing career is absolutely voided. He already don't care about legacy, and just imagine he don't knock out Jake Paul, and now y'all gonna say it's not a real fight, it's an exhibition. No, we not giving no passes, bro. This This Gervonta Tank Davis. He needs to put Jake Paul to sleep. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, Jake Paul too big. No, Jake Paul chin ain't never been tested by somebody that hit as hard as Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank should put this man to sleep with ease. I'll say that respectfully. If you don't put him to sleep,
a 2-pack of ass. That shit stinks.
That's a 2-pack of ass at the highest level. And it's a musty energy at the highest level. Get it together. Get it together. Tank looks amazing. That's the Chilla Killer. Chilla Killers.
The weight factor has become one of the most debated topics ahead of this fight. Some argue the size difference is simply too big to overlook, while others believe Gervonta's refined skill set will erase any physical disadvantage. Fans and experts remain split. Some even question if the fight should happen at all given Jake's bigger frame. Still, Tank's supporters insist his speed, discipline, and precision make him more than capable of handling larger opponents. They remind everyone that boxing isn't about size, it's about control, angles, and timing. Many believe Jake's fundamentals are still too basic to threaten a fighter like Davis, whose technical mastery will easily neutralize any size edge Jake brings.
Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight.
And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves.
And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded.
Michael Bisping acknowledges Tank's incredible power and skill but cautions that size can't be completely dismissed. He respects Gervonta's ability to adapt against bigger opponents, yet points out that physical differences always play some role. According to Bisping, Tank has the ring IQ to outthink and outmaneuver Jake, but the weight gap could test his endurance and ability to absorb heavier punches. Still, he praises Tank's determination, saying if anyone can rise to the challenge, it's him. Bisping concludes that while size remains a real factor, Davis's technical mastery could still be enough to overcome Jake's physical edge if he executes a flawless strategy.
It's all for crying out loud, but at the same time pretending to be like this badass motherfucker, sending me DMs talking. He offered me a contract a long time ago, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm a retired fighter and I've got one eye. Why would I want to fight you? I wouldn't lower myself to doing that. I know a lot of people do that. They do lower themselves, if you want to say that, because of the payday, because Jake Paul is a big name. He is a social media sensation. He's a YouTube star. And now, of course, in the world of boxing, he's one of boxing's biggest stars because he puts on these spectacles like Paul versus Tyson, like Nate Diaz, because these are the fighters, these are the names that attract the eyes. Jake Paul is the B-side to almost every single one of his fights. When he fought Nate Diaz, people were tuning in for Nate Diaz. His last fight against Cesar Chavez Jr., apparently no one watched that fight. Apparently the pay-per-views were ridiculously low. So this one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous, and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many times and not knock him out, with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head, and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could, it's dangerous. That's why fights like this can't get sanctioned. That's why this is a exhibition bout and not a real matchup. Now listen, they're both going to get paid tremendously. They're going to make a ton of money, and a lot of people are going to tune in and watch it on Netflix.
Several analysts argue that Gervonta Davis's resume has been unfairly disrespected. They point out that fighters who share the ring with Tank often gain massive recognition afterward. Opponents like Lamont, who were relatively unknown before facing Davis, became far more popular and successful following their bouts with him. Analysts say this highlights Tank's influence and star power in the sport. They dismiss claims that Davis isn't the face of boxing, insisting his fights create opportunities for others while keeping fans invested. In their view, questioning his legacy overlooks how much he's elevated the profiles of countless fighters simply by stepping into the ring with them.
In the boxing world, about Gervonta Davis and Gervonta Davis, his resume, who he's going to fight, the competitors that he's going to fight. And every once in a while, something happens that proves that Gervonta Davis is the face of that. If he's not the face of boxing because people just don't want him to be that, man, he is real close to it, because other than Canelo Alvarez, and even consider Canelo Alvarez included, nobody in boxing has divisions circulating around him like Gervonta Davis does. And that was proved during this Lamont Roach versus Pitbull Cruz announcement for their pay-per-view. Just think about this. Gervonta Davis, they always say that Gervonta Davis has a poor resume, but yet Gervonta Davis, guys that fight Gervonta Davis, lose to Gervonta Davis, or get a draw to Gervonta Davis, can fight one another and make an anticipated pay-per-view between the two of them. Because that fight with Pitbull Cruz is a very, very popular fighter with Mexican fight fans. Lamont Roach got a lot of name exposure with black fight fans and Mexican fight fans and white fight fans, all with his draw that he got against Gervonta Davis. Now they believe that this is going to be able to be a profitable endeavor for a pay-per-view. Now, let me also tell you that Rolly Romero, who was somebody else that Gervonta Davis fought in the past, will be on a pay-per-view that's going to be successful, most likely, when he defends his WBC 140-pound championship. Or does he have—
Coach Reg offers a balanced perspective on the criticism aimed at Gervonta Davis. He reminds everyone that Tank has already accomplished more than most fighters his age. In his view, there's nothing wrong with pursuing high-paying fights once you've proven yourself. Reg believes Davis has earned the right to secure his financial future after years of hard work and risk. He adds that every boxer eventually reaches a stage where life-changing paydays become a priority. To Reg, critics overlook how much Tank has given to the sport and underestimate his dedication. He concludes that whether Davis retires soon or keeps fighting, his legacy as one of this era's top lightweights is already secure.
Get the bag and then go about your business, if that's your plan. I mean, if that's your plan to retire, then go get the bag and go about your business. You ain't doing nothing wrong. I'm not against it.
You got some people that are very critical, Tank. Does it make sense depending on what you're in boxing for? Because you got some people that want to fight the best. You got some people that want the accolades, the belts, the undisputeds. And you got some people that just came in this game like, look, I'm trying to get my family out of poverty and give us generational wealth. Does it all depend on what you decided to box for?
Well, Tank accomplished a lot at a young age. You know what I mean? He accomplished a lot at a young age. So I wouldn't be mad if he took the bag and went about his business and never fought again. You know what I mean? Plus, look at some of the things that he's going through. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of that can affect you as well. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're trying to be in this game. So I think, get the bag and go. That's your plan. Get the bag and go.
For me, of course, I wanted to see him fight Shakur. I wanted to see him fight Devin.
Yeah, we all wanted to see him fight.
Guess what?
Some analysts note that much of the attention around this fight stems from Gervonta Davis's popularity and cultural influence. As one of the most prominent black fighters in America, Tank naturally commands major media and fan attention. His fights go beyond sports. They become cultural moments that connect with audiences. Experts point out that his fame has made him one of boxing's biggest stars, bringing both admiration and criticism. They add that public perception heavily shapes how bouts like this are viewed, and Davis's prominence guarantees that every move he makes becomes headline news. Still, most agree it's his talent, not just his fame, that has truly earned him the spotlight.
Everything is embellished and, made into a bigger deal, especially when they're popular fighters like Gervonta Davis. Or Floyd Mayweather has a close fight with Castillo Maidana, and it's the end of the world. Andre Ward has a tough fight with Kovalev. Oh, it's the end of the world. He cheated and all this stuff. Jermell Charlo has a close fight with Castano, so on and so forth, right? Oh, Jermell, it was a robbery, and it turns into this big deal. But back to Tank's resume, his last opponent was Lamont Roach. I thought he won the fight. There wasn't this crazy action happening on Lamont Roach's side prior to that knee thing. I feel like when the knee fiasco happened, that's when the fight started to pick up a bit. And Lamont Roach, I think what he deserves credit for is he exceeded expectations that people have for him. But you can't score a fight based on expectations. You feel me? Right? Like, you don't get a fight and get the victory because you did better than people thought you were going to do. That is not how you score boxing, right? You don't get more points because you're the underdog and you did better. It's not how boxing.
Many analysts view this matchup as more of a global spectacle than a purely competitive contest. Jake Paul's rise through social media and entertainment has made him a crossover star rather than a traditional boxer. Experts suggest the fight's purpose isn't just to settle a rivalry, but to capture mainstream attention. With Netflix handling the broadcast, massive exposure is guaranteed. While some predict Tank will dominate due to his elite experience, others believe Jake's celebrity factor will keep the event entertaining. The fight represents the merging of boxing and entertainment, where skill meets showmanship. Competitive or not, it's set to attract millions of viewers and thrust both fighters into the global spotlight.
Reiterate one more time. I would rather see this because it's a spectacle than him versus Ryan Borland or Andre August or chasing these like quote-unquote championship dreams in boxing. I don't think he's a championship level boxer. I don't really care about that journey. I want to see him in spectacles. Netflix is going to air Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. So to me, this is,
Do you think it will do well?
It will be watched. It will be watched.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. A lot of people are going to watch.
I would rather see Anthony Joshua just because that has been put out there and is on the table. But I will watch this.
I saw some people breaking this down on, it was a non-fight pod. It was, I don't remember which one. And they were saying like, oh, Tank's going to kill him. Tank's going to kill him because he won't be able to touch Tank. And then...
Okay. It's kind of like the Tyson thing again, though, right? Like when there was
it reminded me of that, but it also reminded me of like, oh, in barbershops across the world, people, or at least the country, people will talk about this and be like, oh, Tank's going to kill him because...
Stephen Fulton publicly defends Gervonta Davis against critics who accuse him of chasing easy paydays. He argues that every fighter deserves to secure financial stability, especially in a sport as short and dangerous as boxing. Fulton notes that Tank has already proven his worth through years of dominance, and taking big money fights is a natural progression. He urges fans to see the bigger picture, saying Davis has earned the right to balance legacy with financial reward. Fulton's defense of Tank reflects a growing mindset in the boxing world, respect for fighters who recognize their value and refuse to be limited by outdated expectations.
In that fight, especially with the payout, it's like, that's a no-brainer. But I understand. I still feel for Lamont. That's my boy. Like he still want his rematch. But then when you be realistic about the money situation, you're changing your whole family life. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's people hate on it because they're not in that position. I'm not saying Lamont. I'm speaking like other boxers. Be like, oh, he this for that. He's this. It's a side quest. It's a little side quest. Because what happened when Floyd and all these guys went on WWE, but then they get right back to what they doing? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's another little side quest. I'm all for people just getting their money, so get the best, make the most that you can out of this entertainment world. Because, I mean, I don't know. I would have done it as far as the money aspect, because none of us would deny that money. They talk like they would, none of them.
Eddie Chambers warns that underestimating Gervonta Davis would be a huge mistake. He acknowledges Jake Paul's physical advantage but insists that Tank's skill, power, and fight IQ make him a nightmare for anyone. Chambers points out that Davis's sharp reflexes and explosive combinations can break down bigger opponents who lack strong defense. He explains that unless Jake becomes a true powerhouse, he'll struggle to handle Tank's intensity and precision. According to Chambers, Davis remains one of the most dangerous pound-for-pound fighters in boxing thanks to his timing and composure. His comments emphasize that physical size means little against someone as technically skilled and mentally sharp as Gervonta Davis.
It's created. There's a lane that Jake Paul has created. Honestly, I'm not mad at him for it. It's gotten a lot of fighters and, actual fighters some shine. It also has done for women's boxing a lot. So I'm not mad at him for what he's been in boxing and what he's created. This is a little crazy right here. This is a little crazy. And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is going to feel something from him. And it ain't going to be easy to hit him. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside.
That's it for today's video.